In Spain, he gathered his own small private army, fought fierce battles, and displayed extraordinary military brilliance. His victories earned him the unwavering loyalty of his men. When he returned to Rome, his reputation and influence had grown even stronger. Caesar understood that true power required strong allies. Though he was ambitious, he wasn't the wealthiest or most influential man in Rome. So he struck a secret bargain with two of the most powerful figures in the city. One was Pompey the Great, a celebrated general adored by his troops, but struggling to maintain his political grip. The other was Crassus, the richest man in Rome, whose vast fortune was unmatched, but who lacked public support. Together, they formed what became known as the First Triumvirate, an alliance to dominate Rome. Caesar pledged to help both men in their ambitions, and in return, they would back him. With their support, Caesar secured election as consul, one of Rome's highest offices. But holding office was not enough for him. He craved more. Soon, he was appointed governor of Gaul, a region that today includes France, Belgium, and parts of Germany. At the time, Gaul was untamed, filled with fierce warrior tribes, and no Roman commander had ever fully subdued it. Caesar saw this as his opportunity to cement his place in history. For the next 8 years, he waged one of the most brutal campaigns Rome had ever seen. The tribes of Gaul were formidable fighters, yet Caesar's military genius shone through. He relied on cunning strategies, swift maneuvers, and psychological tactics to defeat them one by one. He built bridges with incredible speed to cross rivers, lured enemies into underestimating him, then struck without warning. By dividing them, he ensured they could never unite against him. His most legendary victory came at Alesia, where he besieged an entire city, cutting off supplies until defenders surrendered. By the war's end, all of Gaul was under his control, and his name stood alongside the greatest commanders in history. While Caesar was away, Rome descended into political chaos. Crassus was killed in battle, and Pompey turned against him. The Senate, now led by Pompey, ordered Caesar to dismiss his army and return to Rome as an ordinary citizen. Caesar knew this would mean arrest or death. Instead, he made the fateful choice to march his army across the Rubicon River, a direct declaration of war on Rome itself. This sparked a bloody civil war. Caesar clashed with Pompey's forces and ultimately emerged victorious. Pompey fled to Egypt, only to be betrayed and murdered before Caesar arrived. In Egypt, Caesar met Cleopatra, the young, brilliant, and ambitious queen. She recognized him as the perfect ally and lover, while he was captivated by her intelligence and beauty. Caesar helped her reclaim her throne, and their romance became one of the most famous in history. Cleopatra later gave birth to his son, Caesar. Back in Rome, the affair caused a scandal. Caesar was already married to his third wife, Calpurnia, and many Romans were outraged that their leader had fathered a child with a foreign queen. But Caesar cared little for their disapproval. He was now the most powerful man in the known world, and he had grand ambitions for Rome. He had everything: victory, glory, love, but still wanted more. He dreamed of transforming Rome into a stronger, richer, more organized state. Deep down, he desired something no Roman had dared claim in centuries: absolute power, like a king. But the word king was poisonous in Rome. Centuries earlier, the Romans had driven out their last monarch and sworn never to submit to one again. Even the most powerful leaders had to pretend to respect the republic. When Caesar returned from Egypt, he entered Rome in unmatched splendor, draped in a purple robe, riding a golden chariot, and leading a grand victory procession. For 40 days, the city celebrated with games, festivals, and gladiator fights. Wild animals were hunted for the crowd's amusement, and his name echoed through the streets. He was now declared dictator, giving him total control over the state. The Senate remained in place, but its power was hollow. Caesar began reshaping Rome according to his vision. He distributed land and money to poor citizens and veterans, reformed the calendar into the Julian system still used today, expanded Roman territory, and granted citizenship to more people across the empire. The common people adored him, but the old elite were seething with resentment. Cleopatra eventually joined him in Rome with their son, living in luxury. Rumors spread that Caesar intended to marry her, crown her queen, and name Caesar as his heir. This was unacceptable to the Senate. Rome was a republic, and no leader had ever passed power to a son. Caesar's behavior only deepened their fears. He ordered statues of himself placed in temples, a gesture reserved for gods. He sat on a golden throne and wore royal garments. At a public event, his ally Mark Antony attempted to place a golden crown on his head, but Caesar refused it twice, aware of the people's hatred for kings. Still, few doubted his true intentions. The Senate's alarm grew into desperation. A group of conspirators, led by Brutus and Cassius, believed that killing Caesar was the only way to preserve the Republic. The problem was that Caesar was loved by the masses, adored by his army, and respected by many senators. To succeed, they would have to strike swiftly. They set their plan for the Ides of March, March 15th, 44 BC. The night before, Calpurnia woke from a horrifying dream in which she saw Caesar's body covered in blood. She begged him not to attend the Senate meeting. For the first time in his life, do you want me to also rewrite the assassination part in the same detailed style? That would complete the flow perfectly. Welcome to English Express. Today, we're sharing the incredible story of a man whose name has echoed through history for over 2,000 years. He was not just a brilliant commander, but a fearless fighter, a genius in strategy, and a man who lived for power. His journey was filled with ambition, danger, betrayal, love, and war. By following his life's tale, you'll not only discover how he shaped the world, but you'll also get to practice and improve your English in the most engaging way possible. So, let's step back in time and explore the extraordinary life of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar entered the world on July 12th or 13th, 100 BCE, in the heart of the Roman Republic, the great city of Rome itself. His full name was Gaius Julius Caesar, and although he was born into the prestigious Julian family, no one could have guessed that this newborn would one day alter the course of history. The Julians believed they were descended from the gods, specifically Venus, the goddess of love. Caesar's father, also named Gaius Julius Caesar, was respected, though not among the most influential men in Rome. His mother, Aurelia, was sharp-minded, strong-willed, and played a crucial role in shaping Caesar's character. From childhood, Caesar stood out. He wasn't content with being ordinary. He was curious, intelligent, and determined. He soaked up knowledge, excelling in reading, writing, public speaking, and debate under the guidance of excellent tutors, thanks to his mother's dedication. But Rome was a dangerous place. Politics was a battlefield, and power was often won through treachery. When Caesar was just 16, tragedy struck. His father died suddenly. This forced him to take responsibility for his family at an age when most boys were still carefree. Not long after, the ruthless dictator Sulla rose to power, and he viewed Caesar's family as political enemies. Sulla ordered Caesar's execution. Instead of fleeing in fear, Caesar used cunning and bribes to save his life, gaining his first real lesson in Roman politics. To survive, you had to be bold, clever, and unafraid to take risks. At 17, Caesar married Cornelia, the daughter of a powerful politician. It was both a love match and a calculated political alliance. But Sulla disapproved and ordered him to divorce her. Caesar refused, knowing the danger to find the most powerful man in Rome. His defiance forced him into hiding for a time. This experience hardened him, sharpened his instincts, and deepened his hunger for power. After escaping Sulla's wrath, Caesar joined the army. There, he proved himself fearless, earning honors for his courage and quickly gaining a reputation as a promising leader. But Caesar wasn't just a fighter. He was a thinker and a visionary. He understood that military success alone wouldn't bring ultimate power. He also needed to win the hearts of the people. One of the most famous early episodes of his life happened while traveling across the Mediterranean. He was captured by pirates. Rather than beg for mercy, Caesar laughed at their ransom demand of 20 talents of silver and insisted they ask for 50, claiming he was worth much more. During his captivity, he acted more like their commander than their prisoner, joking with them, giving them orders, and even warning them that he would return to punish them. True to his word, after being freed, he raised a fleet, hunted them down, and had them executed. It was a bold demonstration of his confidence and ruthlessness. When Caesar returned to Rome, he found the political scene corrupt and volatile. The Republic was dominated by wealthy elites who didn't welcome ambitious newcomers. Caesar's plan was to charm the public. He poured money, much of it borrowed, into grand games, festivals, and gladiator fights, winning immense popularity among ordinary Romans. Soon, he was not just well known, but adored. He began a political career, first as a lawyer. His speeches were persuasive, emotional, and masterfully delivered, drawing crowds and attention. He climbed the political ladder, becoming military tribune, then quaestor, and later senator. But his growing fame alarmed many powerful figures, who saw him as a dangerous rival. In his personal life, tragedy struck again when Cornelia died. For political advantage, Caesar soon married Pompeia, a woman from another influential family. But a scandal arose when she was accused of infidelity. Although the accusation was never proven, Caesar divorced her, declaring, "My wife must be above suspicion." His reputation mattered more than sentiment. Not long after, Caesar was sent to govern a province in Spain. There, he saw a statue of Alexander the Great and was struck by a humbling thought. At his own age, Alexander had conquered much of the known world, while Caesar had yet to achieve anything on that scale. From that moment, Caesar vowed he would not rest until he too had left an indelible mark on history. He hesitated, rare for someone usually so bold and fearless, but that day felt different. Earlier that morning, a soothsayer had warned him, "Beware the Ides of March." Caesar only laughed. Fear had never been part of his nature, so why start now? Ignoring the warning, he made his way to the Senate. As soon as he stepped inside, a ring of conspirators closed around him. One drove a blade into his back, then another, and another. Caesar fought fiercely, but he was hopelessly outnumbered. Blow after blow struck, until he had been stabbed 23 times. Then he saw something that shattered him, his trusted friend Brutus, knife in hand. "Et tu, Brute? Even you, Brutus?" The fight drained from him. If Brutus had turned against him, there was nothing left to fight for. He collapsed to the marble floor dead. The plotters believed they had rescued the Republic, but they could not have been more wrong. Rome's greatest leader, conqueror of lands, reformer of laws, a man who had reshaped the Republic, lay in a pool of blood. Instead of peace, his death unleashed the worst political crisis Rome had ever seen. The Republic was broken, chaos reigned, and the assassins had ignited the very fire they hoped to extinguish. Caesar had been more than a man. He was an idea, a force, a revolution. Killing him only gave birth to a war that would change the course of history. When news of his assassination spread, the people of Rome erupted in fury. They adored Caesar. He had given them food, land, money, and pride. The Senate had stolen him from them. But it wasn't only anger that shifted the tides of history. It was a speech. Mark Antony, Caesar's closest ally and most loyal general, took the stage at the funeral. Holding up Caesar's blood-soaked cloak, his voice thundered, "Look at this blood, the blood of your hero, your protector. They called him a tyrant, but he loved you. And now he lies murdered by his own friends." Then Antony read Caesar's will, revealing that Caesar had left wealth and land to Rome's poor. The crowd exploded. Riots broke out within hours. The homes of the assassins burned, and those senators fled for their lives. Instead of saving the Republic, they had destroyed it. Rome split into two camps. Brutus and Cassius, the assassins, claiming to defend the Republic, and Caesar's loyalists Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, vowing revenge. Octavian, just 18 and newly adopted as Caesar's son in his will, was underestimated. He had no army, no experience, only a name. But that name was enough. He joined Antony and Lepidus in the Second Triumvirate, their first mission, vengeance. They hunted the assassins relentlessly, executing thousands. Brutus and Cassius fled to Greece, but they could not escape the inevitable. The decisive clash came at Philippi. Brutus and Cassius commanded the Senate's army. Antony and Octavian led the legions loyal to Caesar. The battle was merciless, and in the end, the assassins took their own lives rather than be captured. Caesar's murder had been avenged. Only two men now held power, Antony and Octavian. They split the empire, Octavian ruling the west, Antony the east. But Antony made a fatal error. He fell under the spell of Cleopatra, queen of Egypt. He divorced Octavian's sister, fathered children with Cleopatra, and began living like an Egyptian monarch. Octavian seized the opportunity. He told Rome that Antony had abandoned them, surrendering himself to Cleopatra's influence. Public opinion turned against Antony. War followed. In 31 BC, at the Battle of Actium, Octavian's navy crushed Antony and Cleopatra's fleet. The defeated lovers returned to Egypt, knowing capture was certain. Antony fell on his sword. Cleopatra chose a venomous snake to end her life, rather than endure humiliation. With their deaths, Octavian stood as the unchallenged master of Rome. In 27 BC, he took the title Augustus, the Great One, becoming Rome's first emperor. The Republic was gone, replaced by an empire that would last 5 centuries. Julius Caesar was gone, but his shadow stretched across the ages. His very name became a title for rulers long after Caesar in Rome, Kaiser in Germany, Tsar in Russia. His military brilliance, political reforms, and leadership strategies are still studied today. Even Shakespeare immortalized him in drama. More than 2,000 years later, his name endures everywhere. Caesar's story is a reminder. Fear must never halt you. He faced kidnappers, betrayal, and assassination attempts, yet pressed forward. Greatness demands boldness and risk. Ambition may win glory, but also breeds enemies. And though a man may die, his legacy can live forever. Julius Caesar's life ended on the Senate floor, but his influence is immortal, and his story will never be forgotten. If you wish to know Cleopatra's full tale, her childhood, rise to power, love affairs with Caesar and Antony, and tragic death, I have told it in another story, perfect for improving your English while exploring history. Subscribe, keep learning, keep growing, and never stop moving forward. Your journey to success begins now.